Today I'm sharing 6 of the biggest mistakes most pastel beginners make and how to avoid them. And I made every single one of these when I first started, so hopefully you can skip the frustration and just enjoy the process of creating artwork that you're proud of. A common mistake I see beginner pastel artists make is using the wrong types of pastels for the style of artwork that they're aiming for. There are 2 main types of pastels, which are soft pastels, or sometimes called chalk pastels, and oil pastels. I only work with soft pastels, so that's what I'm going to talk about. Soft pastels come in different formats, so you've got your traditional soft pastel sticks, but the 2 main suppliers that I use are pastel pencils and also pan pastels, which are basically just a soft pastel that's been compressed into a little pan, which you can apply using specially designed sponges called soft tools. If you want to achieve artwork kind of like what you see in this video, or just realistic or photorealistic drawings in general, you need to be able to add some level of details on top. So I prefer using pastel pencils because I feel like they're the easiest way to achieve that. But when it comes to your base layers or underpaintings and larger areas like backgrounds, if you use only pastel pencils, it will take a really long time, especially if you're working a little bit bigger, and you will also use up your pencils very quickly, which can be quite costly. So I prefer using pan pastels because you can fill in really large areas much more quickly. They're really easy to blend colors, and they're also a really cost-effective option in comparison to pastel pencils or some brands of pastel sticks as well. So then I can just save my pastel pencils for the detail layers on top. That being said, you can do your base layers or your backgrounds using pastel sticks if you like. Just make sure that when you're doing your underpainting or base layer, you're not putting too much of that pastel down if you're planning on adding layers of detail on top. The texture of the paper can get filled up very quickly with pastel sticks, and if you fill it up too much too quickly, you're not going to be able to add those details on top, which is another reason why I prefer pan pastels for this, because you can really easily adjust how much pastel you're actually laying on the paper with those. I think the number one issue that beginners run into when they're starting with pastels is actually choosing the wrong paper. Choosing the wrong paper can really dramatically affect the outcome of your artwork, and it can cause so much frustration as well. There are a lot of papers labelled as pastel paper, but most of them either don't allow you to add many layers, or they don't hold pastel very well, which makes it very dusty and messy, or they produce a kind of grainy looking end result. The only paper that I recommend is the Clairefontaine pastel matte paper, because it lets you add a lot of layers, it holds the pastel really well, and it stops a lot of that dust fall off. It also allows you to achieve a smooth end result where you can also add quite a lot of details if you wanted to. Pastel matte can be pricier than some other papers, but it's definitely worth it in my opinion. I try and remind myself that if I was doing an acrylic or an oil painting, then a good quality canvas would cost much more than a piece of pastel matte does. If you're trying to save a little bit of money, I would suggest buying a smaller set of pan pastels or pastel pencils, and don't try and save money on your paper choice because it can literally ruin your experience with pastels, and it's the most important supply in my opinion. When we're choosing which suppliers to buy and use for our artwork, it's important to choose materials that are light fast and archival if you want your work to last a long time. So the term light fast basically means how well a colour will resist fading or changing over time when it's exposed to light. If you're just practicing or sketching ideas, you can obviously use whatever you like, but if you're planning to sell your work or you want it to look the same in 10 or 20 years or even longer than that without fading, discolouring, turning yellow or cracking or chipping, then you need to choose light fast colours and archival suppliers. Reputable art supplier companies usually test their colours using one of 2 recognised methods, which is the ASTM method or the blue wall method. These tests measure how well the colours will hold up over time without fading or discolouring. Usually more expensive brands have colours with higher light fast ratings, but that's not always the case. Even if you buy a good quality set of suppliers, you may find that most of the colours are really light fast, but there can still be a few colours in the set that are rated a little bit lower on the scale that you may want to remove from your set. There are also some dodgy brands that use wording like fade resistant or professional quality, or they may even say that their colours are light fast, but they don't actually provide proof from any recognised testing method to back up that claim. If you're putting hours and hours of work into a piece or you're selling your work, it is worth investing in the suppliers that will help your artwork last a long time without any issues. A problem that causes a lot of issues for new pastel artists is using graphite to create their initial outline, but they don't realise why this can be an issue until it's a bit late. Graphite creates a slippery surface which makes it hard to add pastel on top. The pastel slides over it and the graphite can mix in and muddy your colours. Even if you erase graphite with a kneaded eraser, for example, the residue still sits on the paper and it shows through, especially on light subjects. So there are a lot of different ways to get around this. You can use the transfer method by drawing your outline on a completely separate piece of printer paper. So you can do all your erasing and graphite drawing and everything on that piece of paper. And then you can just turn it over and rub some pastel on the back of that, and then place it right side up on your pastel matte paper and then trace over your outlines so that the pastel from the back of that transfers cleanly onto your pastel matte and blends in with your next few layers. You can also buy graphite-free transfer paper, or you could use a projector or something like that to draw your outline directly with pastel pencil. Don't use fixatives on your pastel artwork. And this is something that I wish I knew before I ruined multiple pieces by using fixative. If you use the same suppliers that I use, which is the Clairefontaine pastel matte paper, pan pastels and pastel pencils, and this is a common combination of suppliers for pastel artists that work in a similar kind of style that I do. If you use those suppliers, there's no need to use fixative, especially if you frame it correctly or store it properly. Most pastel artists I know of don't use fixatives because they tend to cause more problems than they solve. For starters, most of them don't actually fix the pastel to stop it from smudging anyway. A lot of them will discolor your artwork or turn it yellow or dull down your values and can leave little dots from the spray on your artwork. If you take your artwork to a professional framer, most of them will know how to properly frame works on paper, which includes pastel. If you frame your work with matting so it doesn't touch the glass, and if you use UV protective glass, then your artwork will be protected enough not to use fixative. If you don't need to frame your piece, you can store your work inside acid-free tracing paper pads. I have a variety of different sized pads that I keep my artwork in, so you can easily flip through your artwork and see everything clearly, but they will also be tucked away with a piece of tracing paper between each piece, so nothing actually touches each other and you can avoid smudging. I keep these in a flat drawer so they don't fall out, but they're honestly pretty secure in the pads as they are as well. If I have pieces that were done on larger pieces of pastel matte or a thicker piece of pastel matte that doesn't easily fit into a pad, then I will actually just wrap those using some glassine paper so that nothing is touching or rubbing against the surface of the artwork, and then I just store them flat in a box or on some shelves. And I try not to stack too many on top of each other just so there isn't any damage. If your goal is to create realistic pastel artwork, you can't think of it as a paint by number and just put the right colour in the right spot. You're going to struggle to get the right amount of depth and texture in 1 or 2 layers to get that realistic look. You really need to have multiple layers to help build up those colours and textures, especially if you're working on something with fur or feathers or skin texture. I usually start with a base layer where I block in the main shapes, and then I add in more saturated and vibrant colours in that layer and start to establish where the light and the dark areas are. Then I will blend that base layer with a cotton tip to help push the pigment into the paper, so I'm able to add more layers on top more easily. Blending this way also reduces a lot of the excess pastel dust as well. I will then add 1 or 2 layers with pastel pencils where I'm focusing on creating the textures like the layers of fur, translucent skin tones, or even different kinds of feathers. I'll adjust the colours to make them look a little bit more natural and also adjust the values as I go as well. Sometimes you will need to blend between your layers of pastel to help smooth everything out or make it look a little more cohesive, and sometimes you may only need to lightly blend just to take away some of that graininess that pastel pencils can give you. And then I will usually add another layer or 2 of just details on top. adjusting the proportions and making the colors a little bit more accurate, and really boost my values, like make the highlights really bright and the shadows darker if I need to as well. I don't usually blend too much after the last layer of details, and you could just use a cotton tip very lightly to smooth out any of the grainy areas if you're not happy with it. But building up your layers this way makes your artwork look more realistic, and blending between the layers helps make everything look more cohesive and allows you to continue adding more pastel.